Hello everyone, today we're doing the top 10 forgotten U.S. aircraft of the Cold War, so let's get to it, okay? Now, this list could have included an extra 10 or 20 airplanes, but through my 30 years of airplane research, I narrowed down 10 aircraft I think are very forgotten today from, U.S. aircraft of the Cold War. The first aircraft I would consider forgotten today is the North American B-45 Tornado. It was the United States' first all-jet bomber. Saw service after World War II and throughout the 1950s. Unfortunately, there's only 3 left in existence today. And even though it was the first jet bomber of the United States, it's very forgotten today. Aircraft I think is very forgotten is the Grumman F-9F Cougar, which is the swept wing version of the F-9F Panther. The Cougar saw service throughout the 1950s as a primary jet fighter aircraft used off American aircraft carriers. It ended its fate at China Lake Naval Air Station as a target drone, and many met their fate like that. And I think the F-9F Cougar is very forgotten today. The McDonnell F-3H Demon was probably the U.S. Navy's first modern-looking jet fighter. Operated off, U.S. aircraft carriers, but was a little underpowered. It's a cool jet, but very forgotten today. Not many people talk about the Demon, so today that's on the list. The F-80 Shooting Star was the United States' first jet fighter. The F-80 Shooting Star just started entering service just before World War II ended, but it saw service as a day fighter. It saw combat in Korea and was used throughout the 1950s, eventually last being used by the Air National Guard units. Even though the F-80 is America's first jet fighter, it's very forgotten today. No one talks about it, so it's on the list. F-89 Scorpion, which was all-weather interceptor in the 1950s for the U.S. Air Force, very forgotten today. No one ever talks about the F-89, but I think it's a cool jet. The Lockheed F-94 Starfire was the United States' first all-weather interceptor jet aircraft with an afterburner used by the U.S. Air Force throughout the 1950s. But today, no one talks about the F-94. It's a forgotten jet. I like the F-94, but it's on the list. Now, this aircraft isn't really mainstream, but it's on the list, and that is the North American A.J. Savage, which was a 3-engine carrier-based bomber meant to be able to carry nuclear weapons off of an aircraft carrier. The A.J. Savage was powered by 2 propeller-driven piston aircraft, and it had 1 jet aircraft in the tail as well. So this was a 3-engine jet bomber that operated off of American aircraft carriers, and it was a very large airplane. But the A.J. Savage is very forgotten today, and no one ever talks about it, so it's on the list. But I think it's a cool airplane. The Douglas F-3D Skyknight was the Navy's first all-weather interceptor jet. It saw service and combat in Korea and was used throughout the 1950s and 60s, but today the F-3D Skyknight is very forgotten, so it's on my list. Martin P-5M Marlin was the Navy's last flying boat that saw service with the U.S. Navy. Twin-engine maritime patrol bomber, anti-submarine, and search and rescue aircraft. The P-5M, I think, is a very cool airplane. It came in 2 versions. There's only 1 left in existence today. But no one ever talks about the Marlin anymore, and so it's on my list. And last but not least, believe it or not, I think the McDonnell F-101 Voodoo is very forgotten today. And out of all the Century Series fighters, as which the F-101 was part of, the F-101 I think is the least talked about and covered Century Series fighter out there. So unfortunately, the F-101 Voodoo is on my list of forgotten aircraft today. And that was my top 10 forgotten aircraft, U.S. aircraft of the Cold War. A couple other honorable mentions I'd like to make is the F-2H Banshee, built by McDonnell. Pretty much was the Navy's first serviceable jet aircraft for carrier use. I probably should have made the top 10 list, but it's definitely on there as a forgotten airplane as well. And there's like I said, there's a bunch more aircraft I'd like to include on this list, but uh, uh, as far as my 30 some years of aircraft research and studying old warplanes and whatnot. As far as U.S. aircraft are concerned, in the mainstream U.S. aircraft of the Cold War, I believe these 10 aircraft are very forgotten today. I like them all myself, and they're not forgotten by me. So, anyway, I want you guys, if you guys want, leave a comment in the below and let us know what you think of these aircraft I chose as forgotten. And if you can think of any other aircraft you think are forgotten today, go ahead and mention it. And also, please support warbirdbunker.com. It's an online store that sells cool and fun airplane t-shirts. And when you buy from them, you help save aviation history because they donate a percentage of their sales to aircraft projects and aviation museums. So it's a good cause to get behind. So remember, it's warbirdbunker.com. And with that, I'll see you guys later, okay? Thank you, and bye.